This is my bow tie. We at the White House.
We at the White House.
We back in here. We waiting on President Donald J. Trump.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Big time.
I look so good in the red.
You've seen them on Fox News. You've heard them at Trump rallies. Black voices loudly saying, "I support MAGA." But here's the question nobody seems to ask. Does MAGA really support them back? Or are they just being used for the photo op? Let's talk about it. This video isn't about shaming black conservatives. It's about being honest about the MAGA movement, about race, and about how political power works in America. Because while the right loves to promote a few black voices, what happens when the cameras stop rolling? What happens when those voices step out of line? If we want to understand what's really going on, we have to go deeper.
MAGA family, I was on TikTok Live, and a fellow Trump supporter said that all he needed was my vote. I'll never be part of the MAGA family, and that I'm black, I'll never be accepted, but he just got my vote. Nah, that's crazy. Like, I love MAGA Nation, I love the MAGA family, and that breaks my heart that someone would speak to me like that right after the election, that all I was a vote? Nah, I love all you guys, and I know most of you MAGA family members are not racist, and I love you guys, and I'll keep repping MAGA Nation, Trump 2024, but that really broke my heart that some guy would say that. Extremely heartbroken.
We all know the names. Candace Owens, Bryson Gray, Terrence K. Williams. These folks get massive attention in MAGA spaces. They're held up as proof that the movement isn't racist. As if one or two loud voices can erase a system full of anti-black policy and rhetoric. MAGA followers love calling them free thinkers, truth tellers, or people who've escaped the so-called Democrat plantation. But let's pause, because those exact terms are loaded with disrespect. They imply that most black people are brainwashed just for voting Democrat.
He's completely untouchable in terms of that because we are just stunned and shocked by how far they are willing to go to ultimately just interfere with our elections. That's what's happening. It doesn't matter how you feel about Donald Trump. The question is how you feel about the state trying to interfere in what should be a fair and free election, which is something that has stunned Americans, you know? And this is why they hate Donald Trump. I think prior to him, we were all very much falling asleep at the wheel. We didn't realize that our country was being taken from us by really a bunch of kleptocrats in D.C., never-ending.
Publicly, MAGA rallies will cheer for black supporters. But go into the comment sections, the group chats, or conservative forums, and you'll see something different. When a black MAGA voice disagrees or dares to talk about racism, suddenly they're called ungrateful. Or worse, let's be real, a lot of MAGA support for black conservatives only exists as long as they stay in line. The moment they speak independently, just like that, the praise turns to backlash. That's not acceptance. That's control.
And by the way, you are a token. Hey, Jason, you're a token. You are in conservative media as a black guy that can confer upon white people the dignity of not being called a racist for having their views. That's why you get paid. And that's why I don't, because I didn't have the privilege of being born black. I was born white, so there's a limit on what I can say. There's a limit on what
I never thought that I would see a day where I would be rooting for a university above Donald J. Trump and his administration. But I don't recognize his administration right now. I don't recognize what's happening. I have a theory. I do. We were kicking around some theories earlier, me and the team, and we were going, how could Trump be such a free speech enthusiast and allowing these things to happen? Going after college universities, trying to suppress speech, while pretending that you're not suppressing speech, while pretending that you're fighting DEI. It's so messy. It's so obvious. Everyone knows what you're doing. People who are still trying to grift, I suppose, are not willing to challenge you on this, which is ridiculous, because when you are out of office, we are going to have to live with these consequences. Our children are going to have to grow up in this America. Okay? So when you threaten our...
Everybody has a price, I guess, huh? I mean, you can buy anybody, I guess. I don't know. I definitely can't be bought. I wouldn't change my fucking morals. I wouldn't start saying one thing and then saying something else for money. I would never do that. I would never. My truth is more important And my morals are way more important than any amount of fucking money. And I have
Poll
all these
after poll shows that over 90% of Black Americans do not support Donald Trump or the MAGA movement. That's not a coincidence. MAGA supporters often respond with anger, accusing Black voters of being misled, uneducated, or victims of welfare dependency. That alone tells you something. If you claim to love Black people, but hate how they vote, hate what they stand for, and hate when they speak their truth, is it really love or just a performance? Let's talk policy, because actions speak louder than tweets. MAGA leaders are pushing voter suppression laws, attacking diversity and inclusion programs, banning books about Black history, and calling anything that challenges racism woke garbage. These are policies that disproportionately harm Black communities. So if you're a Black person in MAGA, how do you reconcile that? How do you support a movement that targets your people under the banner of law and order or anti-wokeness?
The U.S. Naval Academy has now removed 381 books from its library at the direction of the Pentagon as part of the Trump administration's DEI purge. We're not talking about books being taught in classes at the Naval Academy. These are hundreds of books that were just on library shelves available if a midshipman wanted to read them. One book banned, Memorializing the Holocaust, looks at how women victims of the Holocaust are portrayed in memorials. Another book the Naval Academy doesn't want midshipmen reading, Maya Angelou's landmark memoir, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, that detailed her own trauma and suffering in the hands of racism growing up in the U.S. Now, Maya Angelou was hailed by Americans across the political spectrum as a national treasure when she died in 2014. Former President George W. Bush, a Republican, said she was among the most talented writers of our time. Her words inspired peace and equality and enriched the culture of our country. Someone at the Naval Academy or the Pentagon decided she's too controversial or dangerous for the remarkable midshipmen at the Academy. And what's striking isn't just what's pulled, it's what's been left on library shelves. According to the New York Times, books like The Camp of Saints, which imagines a world where immigrants from developing countries take over the Western world, promoted by white supremacists. There's apparently 2 copies of Mein Kampf by Adolf Hitler on library shelves. When asked about the decision to ban certain books, Pentagon spokesman Sean Parnell told the AP, quote, all service academies are fully committed to executing and implementing President Trump's executive orders. Well, it's become increasingly clear for this administration anti-diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts also means removing references to the struggles of Black people in American society, altering or ignoring Black history or the Black experience in America. Same with gay and lesbian history and obviously transgender Americans. When the subject of Trump's DEI executive order came up in yesterday's cabinet meeting, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth quickly took the opportunity to brag about the job he's done.
So, out of the military, right? Is it 100% out, would you say?
99.9, sir. I'm going to get that last point.
Get the rest of it.
So now Maya Angelou is out, a woman who spoke at a presidential inauguration and was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
Tokenism means showcasing a few people of color to create the illusion of inclusion without actually sharing power. And that's what happens in MAGA again and again. If you're a Black supporter who sticks to the script, you'll be celebrated. But if you challenge racism, if you ask questions, you're suddenly the enemy. Just look at Kanye West. One minute, he was MAGA's darling. The next, he was being discarded. MAGA doesn't love Black people. They love a version of Blackness that never makes them uncomfortable.
If he don't look good, we don't look good. This is our president. He has to be the freshest, the flyest planes, the best factories, and we have to make our core be empowered. We have to bring jobs into America because our best export is entertainment and ideas. But when we make everything in China and not in America, then we're cheating on our country. And we're putting people in positions to have to do illegal things to end up in the cheapest factory ever, the prison system.
I'll tell you what, that was pretty impressive. You know, I hate to say this, Jim. Do you want to say something? What do you do after that?
You don't mind if
You are please, Jim, please.
Good question. And hear me out. Now, this might be an unpopular opinion, but honestly, I love that for them. I love that for them. Like, let it happen. They can come over, because when I tell you, nothing's going to torture them more than being in a space that they don't want to be in, but then also being told that they're not welcomed in the space that they so happily threw us under the bus for. let them suffer. Let them suffer, and we get to watch. We get to see them get exactly what they voted for. So yeah, let it happen. Yeah, they come in too.
Now, let me be fair. Some black conservatives have genuine beliefs. They support small government. They believe in religious values. They feel let down by the Democratic Party, and they're allowed to feel that way. Some are trying to carve out their own space in a system that's failed them. I respect that. But the MAGA movement is not a safe space for honest dialogue about black life in America. It's not built for liberation. It's built to defend the system, not change it.
The Democrats, I see you guys on here asking why MAGA agrees with everything that's happening. Why are we okay with all the chaos? Why are we okay with stock market dropping and going up and people getting deported and all this kind of stuff? You think we're evil. The reason why MAGA is okay with this is because MAGA is not a political party how you guys think of political parties. MAGA is more of a rebel alliance in a way. Let's put it that way. MAGA is not here to play political games. We are in a war with the deep state. The deep state includes the countries that surround us, a lot, if not all, of the Democratic Party and some of the Republican Party. These people that keep yelling they're trying to ruin our democracy, they're not talking about you. They're talking about their democracy. They're talking about their money. They're talking about their lies. They're talking about their corruption. They know that MAGA is here to ruin their democracy. That's why they hate us. That's why they tried to assassinate Trump. That's why they didn't want Trump back into office. That's why they tried to spin all this propaganda and lies. MAGA's not here to play politics. MAGA is here to war with the deep state. There are people, they've been lying to us for centuries. It's been going on forever. And we finally have the pieces within MAGA to start attacking these people. I know you don't trust millionaires. I know you don't trust Trump and Elon and all that kind of stuff. But we do, because those are the pieces that we need to attack the deep state. We can't do it without the finances. We finally have the power and the finances. We have Jesus on our side, and we have a cabinet and a president who also gives reverence to Jesus Christ. Whether you believe that they are Christians or not does not matter. They give reference to Jesus Christ, and so do the followers. MAGA is here to fight the deep state, which means we are okay with the chaos. We know there's going to be short-term losses for long-term gains. We're here to fight the deep state. They don't care who dies. They don't care who starves. They don't care how many lies they have to tell. They're going to spin and fight as much as they can to stop us from beating them. The only people who don't know what's happening are the Democratic supporters. Everybody around you knows exactly the war that we're in. The countries that we're fighting, they know. The politicians, they know. The Supreme Court, they know. The only people who don't know are you, the Democratic supporters, because you're the only ones who are believing the lie.
I'm gonna say this, and I don't care who don't like it. If it wasn't for the black community, Black MAGA wouldn't have any content. They are a one-trick pony. They sit up and they Google things that happen in the black community. Then they come on here, they press play, and they tell the racists in this country how they hate being black. Because that's all you do when you come on here and you talk down upon black people. You're black and you're a one-trick pony, and the racists are even getting tired of you. They're starting to call you out on your bullshit. They say that you're just using your black privilege to talk about black people and to say things that they can't say. So they see straight through you. And they're getting tired of your ass. Just like the black community is tired of y'all stupid, uneducated, ignorant, self-hating ass. The racists in this country is getting tired of you.
Things that happened during, his first term. One of them being, I really appreciated him giving $225 million to HBCUs via the Future Act. What other president has done that? Obama didn't even do that. I'm gonna leave that there. His first presidency really showed me how he does what he set his mind to do and what he says he's gonna do. If he says he's gonna do something, he does it, and he does it efficiently.
Now, we must remember, Everyone is entitled to their own opinions, and we should respect them. But when a robot, ChatGPT, confirms what you've been thinking all along, you wonder what is going on in the minds of some that are not seeing what is right in their faces. I asked ChatGPT how MAGA really feel about black people being a part of their movement. Let's take a look at what it had to say. 1. Public MAGA messaging versus private sentiment. Publicly, the MAGA movement often highlights black supporters as evidence that the movement isn't racist. Figures like Candace Owens, Larry Elder, or Bryson Gray are prominently showcased. Privately, and in less filtered online spaces, there's often racial resentment, stereotypes, and even hostility toward black people, including black conservatives. Many white MAGA followers see Black MAGA supporters as useful for optics, but not necessarily as equals or ideological leaders.
I don't want to live around black people. I just don't. It would be irresponsible if I had a wife and kids to live near black people. It just would be. And that's not to say that every black person is violent. It's not to say that every black person is the same way. But we watch the news. We read the papers. When you drive downtown in Chicago, you know who you got to look out for and worry about when you're thinking about...
2. Tokenism versus inclusion. Black MAGA supporters are often treated as symbols rather than individuals. They're praised when parroting the MAGA line, but quickly dismissed or attacked if they raise race-specific concerns. There are cases where Black MAGA figures were embraced until they deviated from party lines. Then suddenly, racial slurs or racist tropes showed up in responses. 3. Polls and research. Pew Research, Gallup, and others consistently show that black Americans overwhelmingly do not support MAGA or Trump-style politics. Less than 10% support rates are common. MAGA spaces often portray black Democrats as brainwashed or manipulated by the liberal plantation, which implies black MAGA supporters are free thinkers. This framing appeals to some, but also reveals an undercurrent of disrespect for black political agency.
Candace Owens, you disloyal bitch. I can't believe you, sis. All the encouragement you was giving us, all the stuff that you was talking, and now you mad because, what? You mad at Donald Jacquees? Nah, shorty. You mad at Donald Jacquees and you think we all gonna join you? Sweetheart, we liked you because you was rocking with Trump. We did not learn about Trump from you. We liked you because you was rocking with Trump. We already liked Trump.
4. Internal contradictions. The MAGA movement simultaneously supports policies that disproportionately harm black communities, like voter suppression laws, attacks on DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion programs, and pushing anti-woke rhetoric, while claiming to welcome black people. Some Black MAGA supporters justify this by arguing those policies are race-neutral or even beneficial, which creates tension even among black conservatives. So let's ask the real question. If MAGA truly supports black people, why do so many of its policies silence us? Why are its black supporters treated like props instead of partners? I don't say this to divide us. I say it because truth matters. If you're watching this, drop a comment below. What do you think about black conservatives and the MAGA movement? Are they changing the system or just being used by it? Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this with someone who needs to hear the truth. This is grassroots political commentary by the people for the people, and we're just getting started. Thank you. We see you.